Oh, yeah. You know that sound. The victory horns are here. What is up, my friends? I hope you're out there just enjoying the hell out of your afternoon. My goodness, you need to towel me off after that one. The sun is still out, and we're hitting the post show, so you know that it has been a good one. My name is Al-Shatti, and this is the UFC Jacksonville post-fight show. Here on MMA Fighting, we always appreciate y'all for joining us, and I'm excited for this one. I'm here with my co-pilot, the Prince of Positivity. He's the king in the north. Biggs Alexander K. Lee, and of course also joining us, the most fearsome producer in the business, the undefeated E.K.C. Leydon. Man in the boards. Oh, that was good. I liked that, Casey. That was nice.
Thank you.
Guys, fights, afternoon fights. That was pretty fun. That was pretty damn fun. AK, I'll just jump into it because we poured plenty of gasoline onto the flames of the Ilia Topuria hype train when we set this up on Friday, when we previewed this card. Afterwards, I was a bit worried if we overstated things, right? Because we've done this before. We've been on the Andre Muniz train. We've been on these different hype trains, and we've sort of propelled people to places they are not at yet, and then we see what happens. But man, we did not overstate anything. What we just saw from Ilia Topuria, that was a star-making performance. The defense, the power, the precision, the jabs, the calf kicks, good Lord, the technique, just the sheer ferocity of all of it. He gets it done. Lopsided, unanimous decision. Even gets a rare 50-42 scorecard in there from Chris Lee, courtesy of an even rarer 10-7 in the fourth round. We can heap all the credit in the world to Josh Emmett for his toughness. I think 99% of men would have been broken by the end of that fourth round, yet he still came out firing in the fifth. But good Lord, AK, I'm like out of breath. Like, what the hell? What do you think about what you just saw from Ilia Topuria?
Listen, that's what you want to see when these kind of fights are made. We were talking about how they put together these UFC on ABC cards, and we said they have a pretty standard formula, we feel like, of current relevant contenders, maybe someone you want to put over in the main event, and then and then another contender fight in the co-main. We'll talk about Macy Barber and Amanda Ribas later, I'm sure. Who, again, also very, very exciting fight worth talking about. But this was Ilia's coronation. There was a lot of, I guess stopping short of him eventually fighting for the title, but again, it's uncertain when that will happen. So for now, this was if you didn't know who Ilia Topuria was before, if you had doubts about some of his previous performances, thinking like, he beat Damon Jackson, he beat the GOAT Ryan Hall. What does this really mean? He goes up to lightweight, he fights Jai Herbert. What does it really mean? He beats Bryce Mitchell. Bryce Mitchell starts saying after, I wasn't 100%, blah, blah. These were all good wins, convincing wins. I'm sure there was still some who were like, yeah, but is he really a top 10 guy? If you were a little more of a casual viewer or a fool like myself, who also doesn't have him ranked in the top 10 before this event. And man, he put
at least you added yourself. I was going to do it later, but I'm glad
dude, it's so bad. I think I stand by it. I think 5 rounds also is the best thing that could happen to him, because let me tell you something. If he smokes Josh Emmett in the first or second round, super impressive for sure. And listen, because a lot of people don't finish Josh Emmett. I think only 2 people have, and that would be amazing in its own way. But seeing the 5 rounds, there's no like, he just caught Josh Emmett, or Josh Emmett's totally washed. Like, so, Ilia, anyone could have put him away in those first 2 rounds. Josh Emmett looked super dangerous tonight, and Ilia navigated everything he had to offer beautifully. You could really see him doing this against almost anyone in the top 10. And I'm pretty sure a lot of people were imagining, boy, how would this skill set, this striking skill set, look against the man himself, Alexander Volkanovski? So mission accomplished for the matchmakers. If their job was to get Ilia over, big time mission accomplished for Ilia Topuria. We have a poll.
Oh.
Is Ilia Topuria the number 1 contender at featherweight after UFC Jacksonville? Not quite as definitive as I thought it would be. I thought recency bias would put this way over the top, but still a very strong number so far, 76%.
I'm interested to see the results of that poll in a little bit, because that's, I think, the big question coming out of this. But we just need to talk about what we just watched, right? Because we spoke about it a lot on Friday, about the platform that was being given to Ilia Topuria here, right? Like, this ABC platform, not for nothing, it is the biggest platform the UFC offers right now, right? The highest viewing audience, the most number of eyeballs are watching these type of fights on these type of days. and all those eyeballs just got introduced to Ilia Topuria probably in an extreme way, right? Like if you're that guy, if you're the UFC, if you're just all around this mix, you couldn't have asked for better, right? Because I 100% agree with you in the respect of it kind of felt like the 5 rounds was a better outcome than a first round or second round stoppage. Like what we just saw was brilliant. It really was, right? Like you could not have asked for more on a spect or on a platform like this.
Yeah, it was beautiful to watch, and from a sporting perspective, because I think sometimes I don't know if people feel like we don't give other fighters their flowers enough. Like when we talk about their striking, like we kind of sometimes make fun of MMA striking, or at least like the boxing. Like we always have like a caveat, like, oh, this guy's a great boxer, but like MMA boxer. And Ilya today, that like the striking was so textbook and so on point and so like consistent. He was he got Emmett's range super early, figured it out, was locked in for pretty much the entirety of the whole fight. Emmett could not take a step forward without being met by a hard jab or counter punch from Ilya. I know Emmett's left hands looks dangerous, but man, like I think Ilya has mastered that art of like looking at it. Looks like he's getting hit, but he's actually, if you watch if you replay the fighter in slow motion, some of those lefts from Emmett were like just glancing, like he's rolling with the punches, and and staying right in range. Talking about Toporia, where he can counter, do whatever he wants. I would like to see some body work. We didn't see a lot of that. But hey, the head work was working really well. So I guess he didn't feel he needed to. But yeah, this was like just a technically superb performance. There was nothing about this where you saw Ilya and go like, well, he just like outslugged him. No, no, no. This was a quality outstriking, a legitimate outstriking, and it was just beautiful to watch for 25 minutes. It was a privilege, really a privilege to watch it.
I have to say one thing that I was most surprised by, and I don't know why my internet is so reliable until I'm doing something like this and then it just craps out. Apologies for that. Just bear with me. The one thing I was most impressed by, and Dominic Cruz actually pointed this out a couple times on the broadcast, Ilya's defense, man. I think that was one aspect to his game that a lot of people still had question marks about. And they were justified, right? You go back to the Jai Herbert fight, he got in a little bit of trouble there, especially some of his early UFC fights. He was very free swinging, he's very wild with it. And he would eat some shots for his troubles, for sort of the aggressive approach that he's bringing. Tonight, though, it felt like a different level of defensive improvement and almost showcasing the evolution that he's had over these past few fights. Right? Would you agree with me? Were you impressed by the defense that Ilya was putting on tonight?
Yeah, listen, it's the defense is. I'm not going to say it's the only thing that makes a champion. It's a huge part to becoming a champion and definitely holding on to your title. Like we saw this with Charles Oliveira, for example. I mean, a great offensive fighter, not the best defensive fighter, and that's gonna cost you. That's gonna cost you. But we look at the all-time greats, guys who could avoid taking damage: Anderson Silva, George St. Pierre, John Jones, Demetrius Johnson. Yeah, they had their fair share of wars. Yeah, they had fights where they got rocked, but generally over the course of 25 minutes, the defense sustained, and that's why those guys were able to hold on for with their titles for so long. I mean, again, that's one aspect of it, and Toporia showed a lot of that today because for a guy, he's what, 26, 27 years old. You can win a lot of fights early on with raw talent, athleticism. He's absolutely a plus athlete. I think one of the more athletic guys at 145, and just like sheer punching power. You can win a lot of fights like that. It's when you get to this level, you really do have to show that you can avoid taking it as much as you dish it out. And he showed that tonight. I guess the guy, again, I think very dangerous up until the last minute. Like Emmett was not just tough; he was throwing like leather in that last round. And again, I don't think Ilya was ever in any serious danger. And once he got the takedown, that pretty much diffused it for good. But this was a fight where if he was not more defensively sound, definitely could have been right for an upset. But it is on point, and man, it's just exciting to see. I just can't wait to see who he fights next.
I want to talk about what this means for this division, and also just what a division this is right now. Like between Arnold Allen, who just put on a hellacious performance with Max Holloway, and Movsar Evloev, and just Ilya now, and just all this talent coming up at 145. The future at 145 is just so bright. I can't wait for a lot of this. But I do want to bring Casey. I want to bring you in early here for this because you're a resident fighter as well, right on this panel.
Stop it. Stop
Undefeated,
it.
ferocious
Stop
in
it.
there. I know how you get. You've tapped me out a few times. What you saw from Ilya tonight, the technique or the technical improvement, I should say. Were you impressed?
Oh yes, absolutely. I wasn't as obviously I knew Ilia Topuria is a I thought him as a really good featherweight who hasn't proven himself yet. Not that I think I don't know. I'm not trying to disparage his past opponents, but like he exposed Ryan Hall a bit. He exposed Bryce Mitchell a bit. But I took that more as like a negative to the opponents rather than a positive to Ilia. Tonight, this was just a great performance, and I like you pointed out the defensiveness about it. His defensive awareness tonight, because that's what you have to be afraid of with Josh Emmett. He's not a big combo puncher. He's not gonna. I mean, he can't take you down. He can't grind you out. I guess if he wanted to, but that's not his bread and butter. He's gonna hit one big shot that will change the fight, and Ilia never let that happen. No matter how dominant he was, and that's the scary part. You can be so dominant, but like you just have that one lapse in concentration, and that's how quick the fight can change for you. And I think that's why this fight was so exciting, even though it was one of the most thorough ass kickings we've seen in a while. It still got fight of the night because we know Emmett is so dangerous constantly, and Ilia just never lost concentration, never literally let his guard down. And it was just God, I was just so impressed within the first, I would say like 90 seconds of the fight. He just had Emmett's range so well, and those little tiny back steps he did, and he countered real quick, which made Ilia just seem so much quicker than Emmett because his counters was just so fast. It was really incredible, and he is now a legit title contender, and I'm so excited to see who's gonna face next, if it's gonna be for the title or not. I hope so, because it was freaking awesome.
Yeah, you know it's a bad night when already by the second round they're crediting someone for toughness. That is not
when you bring in the toughness word, that early in the fight, yeah.
When you're spending 20 minutes talking about a man's toughness, it's probly been a really
when you
really
survive when you go to the decision and you get a 10-7, yes, you are tough. So I guess
50-42, bro.
Yeah.
50-42. That's a hell of a score. You mentioned it, the title talk now. That to me is the most interesting part about this moving forward, because we mentioned this on Friday when it came to just discussing the stakes for this fight, what was sort of up for grabs here. Could a title shot be on the line for Ilia if he won? And AK, you and Jose and I, all of us were sort of, I wouldn't say uncertain, but we were flippy floppy with it, right? Like this is a very weird division right now. It's very apparent that Volk wants to go back up to 155 and try to get that rematch with Islam. I don't like that right now. I said it on Friday. I think that's way too early. You got a lot of young talent coming out of 145. Do the Anderson Silva, do the GSP, do the John Jones. Sit here and defend your title and become just an all-time legend by doing that. That being said, what you just saw from Ilia tonight, A, is that title shot worthy? And then B, I want to mention this up front because I'm already seeing people do it, and it's very frustrating as I watch the conversation. Please, for the love of God, if you are the UFC, do not match up Ilia Topuria against Max Holloway. You don't need to do that. You so don't need to do that. It's one thing if you don't want to give him the title shot, that's fine. I get it. There's other stuff going on in this division, other stuff going on with Volk. Don't give him the title shot. But do not match up every exciting young contender in this division with Max Holloway and just make him the final, like the Goro to the Shang Tsung that is Alexander Volkanovski. It's unnecessary, and
it doesn't prove anything. It doesn't prove anything. It doesn't prove anything. Even if he beats Max, he still gets the title shot, or he doesn't get title. I don't. You know what I'm trying to say? Like beating Max.
It's very unnecessary.
That's just
you don't need to beat Max. Yeah, you don't need to beat Max. Yair Rodriguez did not have to beat Max Holloway to be able to fight Alexander Volkanovski. You were setting up unnecessary barriers in front of these very interesting fights, just in the same way that we're probably not going to get Izzy versus Dricus du Plessis because Robert Whittaker is going to force the trilogy. That all being said, title shot or not after this? What do you guys think, AK?
It sucks that this is even a discussion because it lines up perfectly. Volkanovski is fighting Yair in July, and then this fight just July 8th, so not even two weeks from now. If Volkanovski beats Yair and he comes out of that fight healthy and ready to, these guys should be booked with it like to fight in 3 months. It's right there for the UFC. It's this handed to them intriguing title fight then you have Volkanovski again, possibly wanting to go back up to 185. You have the possibility that year beats Volkanovski, and then they're going to give Volk. I could guarantee you, if he wants it, that they give Volk an immediate rematch. So there's two outcomes right there. Volk wins, goes after Islam, or Yair goes Yair wins, and then they have to run that one back. And then there you go. If you're Topuria, sorry, bud, that's 3 months of your career. You got that's off. Those three months are gone if you're hoping to fight one of those guys and you want to wait. And then you wait another 3 months and hope that, again, one of these title contenders is ready for you, but you don't know. You really don't know what's going to happen. So it's there's so much uncertainty, which is so stupid, because I do feel like if this was the quote unquote glory days when noobs like myself got into the UFC around the mid 2000s, things like that, it would just be this title shot would be lined up already, and Volkanovski would just be trucking along and defending that 145-pound title in a very, very, very good division where there's a lot of worthy challengers either there or coming up. But this is the new UFC where fighters, to their credit, have a lot of, feel like at least they have more power and don't feel like they have to take what's on the plate for them. But if I'm Volk, I hope he's at least was aware, was watching this fight and says, okay, fighting this guy could be good for my career or dangerous for his career, depending how you look at it.
Yeah, I don't know that fighting Ilia Topuria is good for anybody's career. What do you think, Casey? I mean, do you want a title shot after this?
Absolutely. Yeah.
I'm with you.
I do not like immediate rematch. Okay, if Yair wins against Volk in 2 weeks, 2 weeks? It's in 2 weeks, yeah.
Is that really in 2 weeks? Jeez.
Is that right? Yeah, 2 weeks. Is that? Wait, do I have that messed up? No, International Fight Week, yeah, right? Yeah. Okay, yeah. Wow. I don't want a direct rematch. Volk lost at 55. If Volk wants to fight one more, like if Volk loses, fight one time, get your title shot again. But I know it's not gonna happen though. But Ilia's next fight should be for the featherweight title. He's earned it. He's fresh. He just fought main event on ABC, the biggest audience the UFC really can get. And what is that for if you're not going to throw him in a title shot after that freaking amazing performance? So what are we doing if we're not? I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know. We'll see. I mean, again, there's so much uncertainty around this division right now, but I so badly want to see Volkanovski versus Toporia. That, to me, is one of my top fights now.
I just want to see him in a title shot. I just want to see him. I think he's earned that title shot. I don't care if it's Yair. If Yair beats Volk, then I want to see that fight. I just want to see. Yeah. I know what you mean, though, but I just want. Ilia's he's earned it. I want to see it. That's why we have these big fights on ABC, main event. That's why we do this. It has to mean something. So let's make it mean something. That's all. And
if you can't do that, do like Arnold Allen versus Ilia or something else. Do not do Max Holloway, please. Yeah. That's all.
Yeah. And you mentioned this earlier. There's been a lot of debate on what's the best division, bantamweight or lightweight. We always kind of forget about the featherweights. They're kind of in this middle. But man, this tonight, new blood, and especially if Yair Volk who knows how it goes, but the featherweight division is coming back. It's coming back. I like it. Featherweight division used to be my favorite. But kind of maybe dominance kind of made it a bit boring. I don't know by Volk, but I'm excited about it.
Yeah, 155 to 135, you cannot go wrong. I think even flyweight, but flyweight under's taking a bit of a hit these days. That's unfortunate.
One last note on this fight before we move on, because we set it up yesterday when we were talking about this. This is probably the make or break moment, right, for Josh Emmett. He's 38. This division, historically, lower weight classes generally historically are not kind to men in their late 30s and early 40s. You just have never seen once really someone make a title run that deep into their career at that sort of age. And this is now where Josh Emmett is. Again, he sort of had that one opportunity against Yair Rodriguez for the UFC title, didn't work out for him, and then gets thrown to the wolves that is Ilia Topuria in this one. I mean, it sucks to say, but guys, do you think, is this the end for Josh Emmett as a title contender, do you think? Is this sort of the end of that chance for him to make one good run?
Yeah,
yes.
I know it is. Listen, it's a Shark Tank. And again, all the credit in the world for Topuria for his win today. I don't think it had anything to do with Emmett being like, I'm sure he's a little bit, as he's 38 years old. I'm sure if you want to break down every fight, his past fights, he's been whatever, a step slower here, a step slower there. But I don't know if the best version of Josh Emmett beats, Ilia Topuria. But that said, we have to acknowledge age. And even if you still consider Emmett to be like, a top 15 guy, this division just isn't getting any younger. I mean, there's getting any older. Excuse me. It's getting younger. There's Arnold Allen's in there, Mosar Vloyev. Where's Giga? Giga's out there somewhere. I'm not saying that Giga just runs through Emmett, but I'm saying that's another tough guy who's coming up.
Or Ortega.
Or Ryan Ortega is still out there. So there's just so many good names, and I'm not even looking at like the middle of the pack where there's some good. Jack Shore. I keep forgetting Jack Shore. Jack Shore is coming up. So Bryce Mitchell. I know he lost to Ilia, but it's not like Bryce Mitchell. I don't think he's going anywhere anytime soon. So listen, there's good fights here for Josh Emmett. Some of the names I mentioned, I'm sure Josh Emmett would be competitive against. Some of them he could beat, but can he beat enough of these guys to get himself a title shot again? That's a huge ask. That's a huge ask, man. Like we said, he's 38 years old in a division that just keeps getting better and better and better. And again, there's guys who I probably didn't even name that are coming up at 145 pounds who he's going to deal with at some point. So yeah, this is the end of his run as a title competitor, I think. But that doesn't mean that, we won't still see, if he chooses to still compete, we won't still see him on main cards, co-main events, things like that, because the UFC likes him. He puts on exciting fights. Again, he was the B-side in this one. He's the guy who had to lose, but he was the it takes two to tango, and he was the losing part of what was very memorable, I think, UFC on ABC main event.
Also, just the man has taken a lot of damage in his career at this point. A lot of damage, especially after tonight. I mean, this is someone who has already missed a lot of time with injuries. We saw when he broke his face like 5 years ago, right? He was out for a long time for that too. It's tough. It's a tough road for Josh Emmett, but I guess that's what this game is. Let's move on, because there was a lot to hit on this card, and it was a very fun main card. And AK, you called it. I think a lot of people were sort of questioning the card quality of this one, but AK, you were high on it, and you were high on this co-main event. You gave it the AK Lee rubber stamp of approval as a co-main event and not a penultimate fight. And boy, you were right. Macy Barber, Amanda Ribas. Macy Barber just came in there, and that was spectacular, right? Left head kick, follow right hand, and then just a barrage of violence. Hell of a finish by her. It was almost like she got hurt a little bit, and it just pissed her off. And it was quite a scene. I mean, at the end, she's getting blood all over Daniel Cormier. There is no question now at this point in my mind that Macy Barber has improved tremendously, right? Like this is one of those cases where you can't let all of the initial hype and really like the overhyping that was done to her cloud our judgment of what we're seeing here, because the heart, the will, that has always been there for Macy Barber. But today it felt like she showed that technique. It felt like her overall game is leveling up. She now has the second most knockout wins in UFC women's flyweight history behind Valentina Shevchenko, which is very bizarre to think about. But AK, I mean, after what you just saw today, are you a believer in sort of this Macy Barber 2.0?
Yeah, definitely. Listen, her improvements are very real. That's sort of the thing I've been saying all week. Her improvements are real. I think this is I'm not calling anybody out out there in the public, but like, you cannot judge a fighter by their Wikipedia page. Okay. It's so easy to look at someone like Macy Barber and say, oh, whoa, she got finishes in her first few fights in the UFC, and then she stopped getting finishes and was winning decisions. What happened to her? What did her skills get worse? No. The Macy Barber that we saw in the Andrea Lee fight, whether you thought she won it or not, the Andrea Lee fight and the Macy Barber that we saw on Saturday are way better than the Macy Barber that started off her UFC career with 3 straight knockouts. Okay, she was getting by, I think, early on raw power, athleticism, and just good old fashioned, go getter enthusiasm. Right, that can take you a long way early in your career. At some point, she's getting older. She's refining her skill set. And listen, there's growing pains. Okay, it didn't look great in some of those fights. It didn't look great against Roxanne Modafferi. It didn't look great in the split decision she won against Miranda Maverick. I'll never forget the Maverick fight. Not just that being a robbery, her own corner. I think it was that fight. Her own corner was like you have to hit her, because she was doing a lot of she was hitting the air a lot with some of her strikes. I remember that. And I'm like, and it was true. It was true. She looked bad in those fights. This is not, as she was trying to round out her skill set, I guess become a more technical striker. The early returns were not great. She had great success being a berserker early on, but when she stepped up to fight the Roxannes, the Alexa Grassos, and Miranda Mavericks, there was a lot of bumps. But look at this Jessica I fight, look at the Andrea Lee fight, look tonight. You could see the talent catching up with the skill, and she's one of the women at 125 men. She is throwing to finish. I know people loved her performance tonight. Awesome fight. Great performance by Amanda Ribas as well. But I want people to go back and watch the Andrea Lee fight someday. And when she wasn't being taken down and having to defend herself on the ground, anytime she was on the feet, she was throwing with intent. And that's a huge, huge thing in this division. So it's very real. 5 straight wins now for Macy Barber. She can't become the youngest UFC champion ever now. That ship has sailed. But man, could she fight for UFC title someday? It's totally in the realm of possibility. It was just a really, really fun and enjoyable night for her.
Absolutely. I'd like to enact, if I can, a moratorium over everyone in the UFC, future people who are in the UFC. Let's stop with the John Jones thing, the wanting to break John Jones' record. Like, can we just completely stop with it? Like, every young prospect who comes up says the John Jones line, and I just so badly want you to not do that because it puts so much unnecessary stress, pressure, ridicule, just all of that on you. And it is exactly what you said, where like early in Macy's career, it felt like she had become a meme in a way for some of these fights. And it's another lesson in sometimes it takes patience with a lot of these fighters, right? Like a lot of these young fighters, you got to grow with them. You got to let them get their sea legs in there, become who they will finally become, and not judge, the level 1 version of them. But not judge the Bulbasaur before it becomes a Venusaur, Like, come on. We got to let things materialize here.
Huh? Shaheen, by the way,
you know exactly what I'm talking about.
I didn't get that reference at all. Listen, Raul Rosas Jr., I'm just saying, he still has like 6 more years if he wants to. So, Raul Rosas, if you're out there, don't listen to Shaheen. You keep saying you're going to become the youngest champion. You got a long time. You got a big window to hit.
35.
I do want to ask about this fight, though, because I threw this out on our Slack page for MMA Fighting, and it seemed like everyone kind of consensused on it. Is that the best women's fight that we've seen in 2023? Like, am I missing something? Or is that the best women's fight we've seen so far this year?
How many women's bantamweight fights have we had?
Why are you doing this?
Oh, I'm sorry.
You just can't help yourself.
I can't help myself.
It was to me. It was fight of the night before the. Actually, I want to say it was fight of the night.
I think it was fight of the night. Ilia gets performance of the night, right?
Yeah, I mean, I think the main event officially got fight of the night, but the co-main event was my real fight of the night. Is that right? Did the main event get fight of the night? Am I making that up?
I have not seen bonuses yet.
Hold on. We do. I think you are correct, though, Casey. Yes, Emmett Topuria fight of the night.
Yeah,
Macy did get a performance of the
Amanda
night.
Amanda Hebus deserves $50K for that.
I know that sucks for her.
She does.
But what was the question? Oh yeah, best ladies fight of the year. As far as skill set, high stakes, action, and a big finish, and high stakes too. And best performance, Macy Barber's career too, and on the biggest stage too. I feel. I think when she might have been was she on a pay-per-view when she lost against Roxanne? Was she?
I don't.
On the pay-per-view?
Yeah, UFC 246. That was a
big
pay-per-view. That was the Conor Cowboy pay-per-view.
Yeah, but was she actually on the pay-per-view card though? I know
no,
she was
featured prelim.
Okay, she was featured prelim. Okay, so I would say this was her actually highest profile fight, and she performed fantastic tonight.
She was, by the way, she was the co-main event of UFC 258. Wow, with Grasso.
Oh, really?
That's weird. That was after the loss to Rock. That's weird.
No way. Okay,
I had to look it up. I don't remember this all.
All right. Well, that was not co-main event. I don't believe you. I just don't remember. Oh, it was co-main event. Right.
No, he's right. He's right.
Jeez. Okay.
Not remember.
But I'm not as high. I'm not gonna go all the way out and say like Ilia deserves a title shot, or I know we're not saying Macy deserves a title shot, but I still don't know if she's a title contender yet. But it was a giant improvement for her, and I think this is the sign for Amanda Hebus to go back to strawweight. That's what I kind of took from this. She just got Barber was just way too physical for her in there. I mean, I know she just punches harder, and yeah, she was just way too physical for Hebus in there, and it showed tonight. And Barber really used her physical advantages to her perfectly, and it's just a great finish, great violent finish, and that's why I think fans and the UFC especially Dana love Macy, because man, when she smells blood, and there was a lot of blood in that cage, she freaking will murder you, and that's what the UFC likes, and the national audience got lots of violence tonight for free.
They got something
on ABC.
They got lots of blood.
And
lots of blood.
Different types of blood too. You got some eye blood in there too.
Casey, you're so right about the size too. I don't want to talk about the eye blood. Casey, you're so right about the size too, because the way she countered those leg lock attempts was just plant down on her, get heavy.
Yeah, just heavy.
And then just start punching her. Yeah, just start punching her. And I'm not saying that can't happen at 115, but definitely at 125, it's something that's going to happen more often than not. So yeah, the size mattered. The size.
Yeah, obviously Hebus made a giant tactical error fighting for those leg locks, and when she should have given up on them way before. But I felt that he was. I think immediately felt, oh, this lady is stronger and hits way harder than me, and I gotta do something different. And man,
her strength, her strength, the way she's developed it is one, like you could see it in the way these fights play out. I agree with you, Casey, in that like this isn't. We're not talking about her in title contention yet. It's 5 in a row, though. I will say this feels like the fight that will propel her to that next fight where if she wins that, then we're talking about her in title contention. I would love to see like a Lauren Murphy or like a Caitlin Chukagian or something like that for her next to sort of push her into that next level, see if she's ready for sort of those top 5 flyweights.
Yeah, the classic Chukagian fight. Let's see what happens.
Can she avoid a Chukagianing? Is the question.
Chukagianing, yeah. But if you just go to Macy's Tapology page and just look at what's red and what's green, take away the catastrophic injury that she had in the Modafferi fight. She's only lost to the champ.
Yeah,
she's only lost to the champ for all this kind of grief fans and maybe the media give Macy, she's really only had one legitimate one non-injury loss, and that's to freaking Alexa Grasso. So if she wants to get on that soapbox and say I'm the greatest, I'm the next champ, this is my division, go for it. That's all. She can do it. I'm ready for it. I'm ready for that second wave of that overhypeness that she kind of gave all of us.
So supportive of the youth, Casey. So supportive. You're so hip and with it.
Yeah,
you're so hip and with it.
Shut up.
Well, let's hit the rest of this main card now because it was very action packed. I mean, Austin Lane with one of the worst eye pokes I've seen in my life on Justin Tafa for the no contest there. That was just gruesome. Man went like a full digit deep with those fingers into that eye. We
got to monetize.
He was like he was trying to scoop the eyeball out of that guy. To me, that was just example 435 of why this show win model in MMA is so stupidly stupid and dumb and outdated, because that is not someone who should get punished for, again, nearly getting his eyeball scooped out of his skull. Also, David Onama, just a gorgeous uppercut combination there on Gabriel Santos. Then he hits him with the Izzy bow and arrow celebration, drops a couple F-bombs on ABC. Hell of a performance by him.
Not great.
Real quick, yay or nay on cribbing the Izzy celebration? Where are you guys standing with this?
Big nay.
I'm with you, AK.
Is there a connection? Was that like, are they buds or something? Or did he just do it?
I guess he said post-fight that in his press conference that Izzy beat a Brazilian and did that over a Brazilian, so he wanted to beat a Brazilian and do that over a Brazilian, which is, to me, the most tenuous connection you could possibly make to justify yourself.
That's so...
I think he did 5 bows. He did 5 arrows, not like 3. Like, it went for a while. Like, it kept going. Like his corner brought him a new quiver, more of arrows. It was just like, jeez.
If he just got like, see, the fact that he planned it makes it worse. If he just got like caught up in the moment, he's like, oh crap, like, oh whoa, I got to celebrate somehow. That's a sick knockout. And then did it. Like, okay, that makes sense. You caught him in the moment. Great. That was a recent thing. Whatever. You steal from the best. He says he planned it. He said post fight in his scrum. Credit to Mike Heck, by the way. Mike Heck keeping us updated on site. That he had planned this ahead of time because, as you said, the Brazilian thing. And I'm like, that's so dumb.
It's whack. It's whack.
Onama. Listen, this guy, it could be a stud at 140. Again, we're talking about 145 being a sick division. Guys, I forgot to mention, being future contenders. Onama's right up there. The guy's ridiculously talented. But you got to work on that celebration stuff. That's tacky. It's tacky. It's hard to be tacky in MMA.
Him. They gave him $50K for it too.
I mean, it was a crazy knockout. It was awesome.
Knockout was great. The knockout was great.
Yeah. I don't know, but you got to take a point away for the celebration. Sorry.
Can you imagine if that would be the most unjust thing in MMA today if they took a point away?
He gets $45K. He doesn't get the full $50K. $5,000
fine for swagger jacking.
It's just you can't.
I need justice. I need justice in this world.
It was weird.
Even if that's something you do plan, don't tell us that you planned it. Be like, that was spur of the moment. I felt like Izzy in there, so I wanted to give.
It just came
like that type of thing. Come on,
like Kendall Grove. Remember Kendall Grove used to do the Tito Ortiz Gravedigger thing, but that's because he was like Tito's like.
They were a team.
He was Tito's boy.
He was Tito's boy. So it was cool.
That's what I was asking. I thought, was there a connection between the guys? No. But okay.
No.
All right.
Nothing.
Also on the main card, Brendan Allen continuing to just
He got
be
robbed
the
50K.
guy.
I thought he should have got the other 50K, but
Yeah, man. He is sort of this unsung dark horse right now at middleweight. He runs through Bruno Silva less than a round, calls for Jared Cannonier, calls for Dricus Duplessis, calls for some purple shorts, calls for a Louisiana event, calls for some Chipotle. I'm pretty sure there's a few other things I don't remember. But that was 5 straight for him. 4 stoppages over that run. He really fit it all in that post-fight interview. It was just tremendous.
Shane, just wait till your boy can talk, because this is what you'll be getting every time you go to the mall. Like, oh, Dad, can I have this and one of these? Can I have one of these? And can I have one of these? Oh, can I have one of these? So be ready. That's what Brendan Allen was like. But listen, I shouldn't say anything bad about Brendan Allen. Casey, do you have the clip? I don't know if you have the clip handy, but I shouldn't say.
Oh, wait.
Brendan Allen has already called me out for the last time because I said Andre Muniz was just going to run through him on the ground. Like, if he goes to the ground, Andre Muniz is going to smoke him. And then he included me in a little wrong media members montage. So I did him a favor. Casey, if you have the clip, feel free to throw. I did him a favor.
Wait, I didn't see this. This is
I'm in there in like half a second.
He included you in a wrong media.
Yeah, people doubted me. Yes, it was after Muniz.
This is
but that's not the clip we want. We did him a favor.
Brendan Allen, you just became one of my guys. I'm here for that.
Oh, where's that clip?
Someone on the pre-fight Q&A asked us for locks, and I said, I'm doing this as a favor for Brendan Allen. I'm like, I don't believe in this, but I'm saying I'm picking Brendan Silva first round knockout to be my lock of the night. And I said, Brendan, if you're out there. But then Casey had me record a bit of like propaganda to make me look bad. So whatever, we can pull the clip up later. But congrats to Brendan Allen. Later, yeah. Who, by the way, again, talk about judging by Wikipedia entries. People look at that, go back and look like, oh, he submitted him. No, man. He went brawling with the friggin' world-class KO artist on the feet first, and then he finished him on the ground. It was so impressive.
Yeah, man. 5 in a row now. 7 out of his last 8. Really good run. Low-key, really good run in the UFC for Brendan Allen. Also, I'm just here for all Chipotle shout-outs. I'm very basic. I love Chipotle. I eat Chipotle way too much. I'm here for it. Let's just support the good guys. And give me some more Chipotle. All right. I mean, that's the main card. We've sort of hit everything. Lots going on the undercard, too. Neil Magny gets a win. Maybe not the most exciting win.
That was a bad fight, right? That was not a good fight.
That's about what we can say about that.
Yeah,
it's split decision. It was what it was. Maybe the card placement on that, I questioned it beforehand. Maybe they knew what they were doing on that. Randy Brown gets it done. Tabitha Ricci, Joshua Van pulling off a splitty as well. Jack Jenkins maybe getting a little questionable one. Good performances all around. Also, Jose Marisol in the Trevor Peak fight. That was a lot of fun. A lot of fun. A couple fight of the year contenders here on this night, or I guess afternoon in Jacksonville. Let's see the peeps. What are the peeps talking about, Casey?
All right, hold on one moment. I have to show this clip. I think I finally got it. Hold on.
See if you can pull this up again. So the context. This was made. It's gonna sound weird in support. There we go. Got no chance against Bruno Silva. Bruno Silva's gonna knock him out round 1. He can't last 2 seconds on the feet. Got no chance against Bruno Silva. Bruno Silva's gonna knock him out round 1. He can't last 2 seconds on the feet with Blendado. Brendan Allen, you're going down.
I disagree. Brendan Allen, you will win. You will dominate and you will win. You will be the next UFC middleweight champion.
Looks like Casey knew all along.
I hope he just uses your clip if he digs these up. I hope he just uses your clip.
is just a consistent Brendan Allen hater. And
I am. Listen, I'm hating him.
We got you.
I'm doing him a favor. I'm hating him all the way to UFC gold around his waist. I'm telling you. I'm just going to keep picking against him until this train stops because he's been doing real well. Doesn't need my support.
So ready for questions?
Right. What are the peeps talking about?
All right, what we got, people? Come on. Let me see. Sorry, I was talking a lot. I didn't get to go through the comments too much.
I'll end the poll. 75% Toporia is the number 1 contender. 75%.
75%. Was there a I don't know third option?
No. I don't do that bull crap. It's I only do yes or no.
Lay in the law, bringing it down.
I don't do that crap.
JN asking, what was the Chipotle thing all about? Who knows? Chipotle is delicious. I'm not here for slander.
Yeah, we're being positive here.
Also, JN, was Dana at the event? I could see Hunter, but I didn't see Dana. That's a good question. I'm not sure about that, to be honest. I
Yeah,
haven't looked into it.
I don't think he's there. I don't.
I don't think
Jacksonville.
he's there.
Yeah, he
Which
doesn't
is a
like
little
Jack.
You know, it's
surprising.
only a
Doesn't
show
like
on
Jacksonville that
ABC.
much.
Why would he
Yeah.
need to it's not a big deal.
That's what I mean. That's what these network cards just aren't like. They're just.
The UFC could never get it done without Dana, man. He's integral to the whole operation.
Sergio Ramos in the building, though. Real Madrid,
Sergio
Spanish soccer team legend, football team. Excuse me, guys. Football team
Is
legend. Sergio Ramos in the building.
Is that a top 3 most famous human being who's ever been at a UFC
Yes.
fight?
Yes, unequivocally. And I know there's gonna be a lot of
Who?
North Americaners. He's a sportsman. He's a sportsman, Casey. Very famous sportsman.
Was he?
There's-
I
Listen, this guy.
watched
Spanish football. Spanish.
He's won a
soccer
World
player.
Cup. He's won a World Cup. He is very famous. Probably again. I'm sure
Like
in North America.
one of
whatever.
the greatest soccer players of all time, basically.
Yes, the golden generation of Spain football.
Alright.
Sergio Ramos. Yes.
Don't worry, Casey. All of this was
yeah.
just explained to me like an hour ago, too. Don't worry. This is coming from Dana Blanco. What do you think about the double DC commentary duo? We were actually talking about that amongst ourselves before we went live. I'm not a fan. I'll just be honest. I'll just say it. I'm not a fan. I really don't like it.
When
I don't
Dom
think
said
that's well together.
when Dom said you get cauliflower ear so it protects your brain. Did you hear that when he said that?
Yes. Yes, I did.
Yeah. Okay. I was making sure I wasn't like imagining that. I was like,
No, that was the thing that was said on ABC.
Not his best. I will say this is listen. We've been critical of both these guys. And Casey, I know you're more of a fan of Dominic Cruz most of the time. I'll compliment Dominic today for a couple of things. One, and this is stealing from I think Shaheen pointed this out, that he did a great job kind of explaining the intricacies of what Toporia was doing in the main event. Like that's exact when you're on ABC, that's exactly what you need. You need a guy who, if someone just so happens to casually be tuning in and kind of like, oh, this Toporia guy looks good, but I'm not sure like what I'm not sure exactly why I'm so hyped about it. You need a guy pointing out those things, and that is something Dominic Cruz does really well, which is why we kind of always say like he's maybe better as like a desk analyst than like live on the mic. But you do need a guy like that.
like maybe bring in Dom like when they used to do like Trevor Whitman or Dean Thomas.
Or they're Dean Thomas
just,
now, yeah.
They just kind of come in for these like little 30, 45-second bits, and he can just kind of focused on one very technical part of the game. I think it's when he kind of just when he
He
gets
gets free reign for 8 hours in a row.
Yeah. When it gets very like a watch along type of when they're not really commentating the fight, they're just kind of talking. Then you're like, this is getting
and he I don't know if I'm not mistaken, he kind of not buried the hatchet, but for a second with the Macy Barber stoppage, right? 'Cause
Yeah,
Keith
Peterson
was there, and
But
he said
didn't
Peterson did a good job.
No, he said the ref. He goes,
Oh.
the ref did it. I was like, oh, he didn't say his name. He didn't say his name.
It still counts. It still counts.
Yeah,
Come on,
it still counts.
He gave him his props.
I know we kind of skipped over that, but was that controversial, the stoppage? Because I thought that stoppage was actually, I agree with Dom and DC.
I thought it
was a perfect stoppage.
Which one?
I thought it would be, but I didn't see that much pushback.
The Barber stoppage when she stopped Ribas.
I didn't feel like that was controversial.
Yeah.
Good.
I thought it was fine. Yeah, I thought there was. I did like a preemptive tweet, like, "Oh, people aren't going to like this," but then I had a lot of replies like, "What are you talking about? It's fine." I'm like, "Oh, okay."
Yeah.
I guess I've just come to expect the worst from the discourse. That's on me.
Yeah, I don't know if people were saying it's too late or just perfect. I thought it was a perfect stoppage. They gave Ribas a proper amount of time to recover. She didn't take too much damage, but also the ref respected Ribas has a fighter as an A-level fighter to kind of take that much damage to get herself out. And once I think whatever it was, I can't try to remember exactly how the stoppage worked, but it was fine. But
I will say just anecdotally, and this is completely anecdotally, this is the power of these ABC cards, right? I just got a text from someone who, a buddy of mine who's not really a fight fan, who was sitting watching this at their parents' house, and their parents stumbled along right when Austin Lane decided that he wanted to invade that eyeball, and then they ended up for some reason watching it, and the parents were blown away by Macy Barber and Ilia Topuria, and they've never heard of either of them. So there you go. This is the power of that at work, right? Like this is just such a bigger audience than normally would be watching.
And people who aren't, I guess, and people who really aren't even fans of the sport at all, just really flipping channels who don't have cable.
Yeah. That's 100%. What's the worst kind of blood, guys? Because eye blood is up there for me. I'm not a fan.
Eyeball. Dude,
Number one.
I have such a thing with eyeballs, man. Like for my entire life. Like ever since I was a kid. Don't raise your eyebrows in that way.
I don't know where this is going. I don't know where's this going.
Well, I can't handle violence done upon eyes in any respect at all. Like even like torture, like horror movies with like torture and stuff.
Horrible.
You know, like the things. Anytime it's like eyeball included, I'm out, man. I cannot handle it whatsoever.
Do you wear contacts?
Oh yeah, I could do that.
Okay. So because some people are like it even weirds them out when they even touch their eye or like. So I was just kind of wondering. Yeah.
I was just gonna say
it took me a while to get over that. It took me a while.
I was like eye blood is what you say way up there. I was like ass blood, not a fan. Not a fan. I just want to throw that out there. I just want to say ass blood on the show. And now it's out there. It's on the record. Thank you, Casey. It's on. And
can you clip that, please, Casey?
Should I make a poll? Should I make a poll? What's worse? Do people?
Please don't. Please don't.
Can you just say it one more time? No.
What? Say what? Ass blood?
It's the new Parker Porter.
Oh God, I hope not.
That'd be a great nickname.
Remember that emoji's going to be in our Slack room.
Be a great nickname for a fighter.
Off the rails. All right. Yeah. So we got.
Yeah.
Eye blood is the worst orifice to bleed, says VJ.
Bad.
Yeah.
It's bad. It's not my favorite.
Yeah.
It's not my favorite.
Yeah.
Also, I will say Justin Taffa like handled that incredibly well.
Yes.
Like, dude was kind of nonplussed by the whole situation. He's kind of like just annoyed at it.
Oh,
his corner apparently was super pissed, and he was just kind of like, "All right, boys, like relax." Like I don't know, he had to calm his corner down. They were pretty mad about it. He's like, "That's all right." He got mad after.
A couple of things actually about that. Going back to the Taffa fight. A, should that have been a DQ?
No, I like the no contest.
Because it was such a it doesn't have to be on purpose. Like it was such a reckless eye poke because I wish I had
But it does have to be on purpose. That's what the difference is between a DQ and a no contest. If it's accidental, it's a no contest. If it's seemingly done with malice, then that's a DQ.
I just think that's weird. Like, so you have to go like this. You go like Mo Larry Curly on a guy.
But but I don't know that that's what that was, right? Like that was two guys sort of swinging in opposite directions.
He pushed off. I remember. Like it was with his left hand. He pushed off with his fingers out, like right in the pocket, and just.
Casey, can we put the still of it on the screen so everyone can stare at it?
No, let's please not.
No.
Fingers drilled right into the eye socket.
Yeah. So I had an issue. with that.
Banner day on ABC. You got eye gouging. You got like
there was a lot of blood from network TV.
Swearing. Lots of swearing in these post-fight interviews.
Lots of swearing, like blood from many. There was ear blood, eye blood, a lot of nose blood, a little mouth blood. Yeah, it was like every orifice. Pretty
Casey,
much.
Imagine if we had some ass blood. It would have been a hell of a show.
Okay. I would expect this from Casey, but I would not expect this from you, AK.
Listen, this is early afternoon, early evening MMA. All right, we're just if this was usual, us freaking like 2-3 in the morning. I mean, I wouldn't have the energy for this kind of talk. But
what kind of talk?
It's kind of tomfoolery.
I won't do it again. I won't do it. I won't do it.
You're thinking it.
I'm thinking it. Everyone's thinking about it.
All right.
Let's hit a few more.
But back to the ref thing too. Wasn't it super weird that Dan Murgliato was telling Taffa it's going to be a no contest? I thought that was like really weird. He kept telling him, it's like if you don't want to fight, don't worry. It's a no contest. I've never heard a ref. I don't think they're supposed to do that. You know, like
you're not supposed to.
Okay, I wasn't 100% sure because first of all, the ref doesn't. Does the ref decide that? I don't 100% know. I don't know why I don't know that. Who decides if it's no contest? Is it the ref? Was he already telling Taffa how I'm going to decide it if the fight's over?
It's the commission official, not the ref, but like all of the commission officials sort of converse and settle on it.
Okay, it was weird, but yeah.
One that actually I want to get to that has nothing to do with what we just saw tonight, but I've seen it asked a couple times by Saul Goodman. He says PFL committed a dirty piece of business today.
Oh,
and I'm curious for your guys' thoughts on this because this is obviously not to do with this UFC on ABC card, but this is the Hausch Manfield Natan Schulte fight that we saw. Fight I use in air quotes that we saw on Friday. And if you guys don't know the backstory to this, essentially these two dudes, both former PFL champions, best friends, like best friends. I think they're godsons to each other or godparents to each other's children type of thing. Training partners, like main training partners, like I think I can't remember which one, but I think Schulte maybe like paid for Manfio's rent or like put him up as a place to live for like a year when he was almost homeless. Like really the closest people you could possibly get to. And PFL matches them up together for some reason, with the winner basically getting a shot at the playoffs. Both were 1-0 in the season. Meanwhile, the new PFL signing Shane Burgos is matched up against another fighter who was 0-1. He was 0-1 as well, and the winner of that would get into the playoffs as well. It felt like a little weird matchmaking there, just matching winners and losers up with each other. And then, of course, it plays out exactly how you'd expect between two best friends. It's barely a fight. It's like a sparring session. And now PFL just unilaterally yanking Natan Schulte out of the playoffs and inserting Shane Burgos just on their own accord. What do you guys think of this?
It's bad.
Bad.
So bad. Yeah, so bad.
Really bad. Really
It's so frustrating because people were saying, I know Aaron Bronstein was one of them. A lot of people were talking about like earlier this week, like, wait, like when they were reminded this card was coming along, like, why was this fight booked? This is a bad idea. It's not like this is something that happened like as the fight was happening or after. This wasn't like in retrospect. This was ahead, probably months ago when the fight was booked. For anyone who was aware that it was happening, it was like, wait a minute, didn't they try to book these guys before? And then they were kind of smart enough to not make it happen. And Manfio went on to fight and beat Anthony Pettis instead. And that was like 2 years ago. Let's never revisit this. And then somehow they matched them up again. And again, this isn't the tournament yet. This is the second fight of the regular season. So the PFL is free to match up whoever they want. As long as obviously they haven't fought before. They fought in the first fight of the season. They had a lot of options. They didn't have to make Manfio and Schulte fight. And these guys, like you said, they're super, super, super close friends, like life buddies. You know what I mean? This isn't just guys who train together. Like we've seen people who have trained together or previously trained together fight in other organizations, and yeah, they can usually put it aside. But these are like close friends, and again, not even in the tournament, not even like, oh, they're in the semifinals, and like a win puts them one away from winning $1 million, or of course the finals itself, which Manfio had said in the past, I'd be fine with fighting Natan Schulte if it was in the tournament or in the final. Instead, he gets this random fight. Why? I don't know. They got what they deserved. Do the fighters take a little bit of responsibility? Of course, they have a job to do. But at the same time, if I was in the same position as them, I wouldn't want to beat the crap out of my best friend for such low stakes either. So it's, for me, the onus is on the promotion. They shouldn't have made this fight happen, and suspending them. And I don't even know what else is this going to mean. Does this also take away Schulte's win purse and things like that? I don't know where they're going to go with that. It's ridiculous.
And now, homeboy, he can't make the $1 million.
No,
He's not. He's like out of the running now. Like
yeah, he's out of the playoffs. They yanked him out.
It's
the only the way they word it is, they have a certain standard of performance and that neither guy met it, which is fine. But that's going to be, I don't know how much they'll be able to enforce that. And if there's the implication that the fight was fixed, as in like who the winner was, I mean, they better be able to prove that, because they really have no evidence that was the case, right? You and I, Casey, were saying like a
sparring session between two guys who didn't want to hurt each other.
It was just an unentertaining fight, dude. Magny versus Rowe. That fight was horrible, but like but what are you gonna do? Like take away their win bonus? I don't know. It's like that's just how fights go sometimes. If guys don't want to kick the crap out of each other, till they're dead, they don't have to. Now the promotion afterward can go, okay, we're gonna release you, not sign you for another fight or whatever for the loser or whatever. But they have a tournament system. They have a season. He won. He goes on. I don't get it. You can't. That was the whole point of their whole thing. That this is all based on meritocracy. We have a rule set. You win, you advance. And now they're like, turns out.
Listen,
yeah.
We just saw. Listen,
if your whole ethos,
that's their whole, yeah,
is like your
thing.
motion is the meritocratic nature of it. Come on, man. And look, I like Shane Burgos a lot. I like him as a person. I like sort of the move that he made for his career and the balls that it took to do it. He had nothing to do with this decision.
This isn't on Shane.
He benefits from it, but this is extraordinarily ridiculous. All around.
Guys, Magny and Rowe didn't exactly have the most crowd-pleasing fight tonight. So as the UFC, can they go to those guys and go like, you know what, Neil, we're going to take away your win bonus because we weren't entertained by the fight. You guys didn't, because I bet you the UFC, I wonder if they have similar language in their contracts, like, please, whatever, you have to do this amount of effort or something. and then say, you don't really match the level of effort. I'm going to keep the win bonus, Neil. You can have the win and the record, but
Now,
where do we this? It's such a slippery slope and such a silly thing to do.
There is timidity, but that's for the commission and the ref to decide during
That's
the
for
fight.
the referee.
Yeah.
And the referee, as far as I know, didn't DQ
He
them
warned
for
them.
timidity. He warned them,
for timidity.
but
God,
the win's a win.
Can you imagine? Can you imagine a world where the UFC claims that sort of unilateral power to just be like, you know what? I didn't like your title defense, Tyron Woodley.
Yeah.
You're no longer champ.
Yeah.
That's it. That's it.
It's bad. It's bad.
Actually, I can't imagine that. I can.
Oh, I can too.
I can't. We're not. Yeah, we're. Yeah.
All right, let's hit one more, and then we will get out of here.
All right. Here.
And then everyone here involved, watching, performing, we all have the rest of our day to get to. Like, this is tremendous.
Excited.
Okay, big one. Here we go.
Oh, JN coming in with, is Allen no longer the most middleweight? AK, I mean, I have some thoughts, but I feel like I have to give the floor to you on this one. You and Mike Heck are the purveyors of this middleweight belt. So what do you think?
We should know my best friend and I have been in disagreement on this one for a while. I don't even count Brendan Allen as a middleweight. He's too distinct. He finishes fights. He has a personality. His performances are memorable. Any one of those things disqualifies you from being a middleweight. No, you have to be fighting to meandering 15-minute decisions or late TKOs where one person just is too tired to get up to really be in the middleweight discussion. Maybe you could say before the Muniz fight he was in the running, but even then, Allen's pretty memorable. He has a distinct skill set, or did anyway. I always thought of him mostly as a grappler, but now he's showing he can certainly mix the martial arts in a beautiful way. But I never liked calling him a middleweight. Again, I've butted heads with my best friend many times. Yes, you could say whether he lost it on Saturday or just he was never in there. Yeah, he's not a middleweight. That's for the Marc-Andre Barrios and the Armin Petrosians and. These are my people. These are the sadly departed. I mean, not dead, but another promotion. Christoph Jocko, longtime middleweight champion. He has too much personality and too much in-cage personality, and you can't have that if you're going to be a middleweight. So he'll just have to settle for being a top 10 middleweight and a future title contender. So sorry, Brennan.
And he has a cool hat.
And he has a really cool hat.
Yeah.
There you go. AK hath spoken. I feel like you just rubber stamped that. You've evolved and graduated out of the middleweight conversation, Brendan Allen. I'm sorry, Mike Heck. The decision's been made. All right. Casey, you can hit the music. Oh, yes. What a night. I mean, not even a night. What a day. No. What an afternoon.
Look at that sunlight behind me. Sunlight.
It's what is that? I can't even know what you're talking about. That's crazy. You absolutely love it. Thank you, everyone who has rode with us this week, tuned in yesterday, today, all throughout the week as we have given you the coverage you've come to expect from this wonderful website. That man is Alexander K. Lee. He's gone. He already took off. Oh, there he is. Look at that. What a scamp.
Look at the plant. Shining.
That's a cool looking plant. I like the cuts on the leaf. That's good. That man's Alexander K. Lee. That is the best producer in the business, the undefeated EKC Leydon. I'm Sean Al-Shatti. Keep it locked to MMA fighting. We love you guys. Enjoy the rest of your weekend. We'll see you soon. Happy birthday, AK.
Thanks a lot. I'm AK. It's my birthday.